Whoa, too far.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
For those of you that I haven't had the pleasure of meeting yet, I'm Katie's older sister, Trisha. Thank you all for coming to help make this a memorable night for Katie and Brian. And a special thank you to my parents, Dennis and Jan, and Brian's parents, Linda and Steve, for all the hard work they've done to make things come together tonight. First of all, Katie, there you are.
Here.
You look absolutely stunning tonight. I knew you'd make a beautiful bride. Am I echoing?
No, you're fine.
No, you're good.
Brian, you are one lucky guy, and so is my sister. You make quite the handsome couple. I'd like to preface my speech with a few things. Number one, I didn't bring any props like Dad or old embarrassing photos, so I'm just going to do my best to honor you and maybe embarrass you with a few stories. Number two, I've learned that it's really the best man speech, not the maid of honor speech, that people look forward to. Honestly, when was the last time you heard someone say, gee, I can't wait to hear the maid of honor speech tonight? So, or Jason, where's Jason? No pressure. And number three, I promise to keep this speech short and sweet. You know, kind of like Katie. When Katie called to tell me she was engaged, I was obviously ecstatic. Shortly after we hung up the phone, I realized what this means, besides the obvious, and I realized that my worst nightmare was coming true. I'd have to give a speech. I started thinking of ways to maybe get out of it, but have you ever tried saying no to Katie? Good luck, Brian. Where am I?
Good luck, Brian.
The nickname Krabby Katie for no reason. I'm sorry. You knew I had to say that at least once tonight. I got it out of my system. I'm done. Most of you already know what a fabulous coworker, friend, or relative Katie is, but what you may not know is what a truly amazing sister she is. Like many siblings as close in age as we are, growing up with Katie as a sister was a little like a roller coaster ride. When I think back to our childhood growing up, I realize there were a few phases of sisterhood that we progressed through. I'll try and explain some of those. When you were first born, I loved and adored you. You were a new toy doll for me to play with. A colicky toy doll, according to Mom. But I was just happy to have a new playmate, even if you screamed your guts out 24/7. Then we graduated into the bully phase. From about age 4 to age 12, all I remember is some World War III throw-down bloody battles. One in particular ended with me shoving a toothbrush down your throat. For the record, I won that one. But you got me back when we got locked in the bathroom together when Grandma was babysitting and you decided to sink your jaws like teeth into the middle of my back. It seemed like the only time we were getting along at this age was when we were up to no good. Like the time poor Dad walked into our game of, let's see who can flick a booger across the room and make it stick on the wall. I'm not claiming the victory on that one.
Oh, yes you do.
I went there, I did it, sorry. I also remember we discovered that our 2-year-old brother Andy was easy prey for us, and it turns out he was okay with letting us dress him up like a little girl. You knew I had to get you in here somewhere. Next came the teenage and high school years. I think we started to see each other as mutually beneficial. You could sneak into my closet and steal my clothes. I could do just about anything and then blame it on you, and it usually worked. The physical battles came to a stop at this point because we had to conserve our energy for the soccer field. Katie doesn't talk about this much to others, but she was a very good soccer player in high school. She even got all-state honors her senior year. Then we entered the college phase, which is always a little fuzzy, but from what I remember, I think this was therapeutic for us because we were separated by 500 miles. We started to actually miss the chaotic bond that we had formed growing up together, and we began having civilized adult conversations on the phone. And eventually, we genuinely enjoyed being around each other again. Things came full circle when I once again realized that I adored and loved spending time with my sister. There were certainly rough patches growing up, but I'm so glad to call you my best friend. Although I joke about your height, since I've always had a slight advantage on you there, the truth is I actually look up to you now. You're an amazing godmother to our daughter Maya, and you're always there at the drop of a hat for anyone who needs you. You're one of the most humble, caring people I know, and we're so proud of who you've become. You have such a noble job as a nurse at Children's Hospital, taking care of critically ill children, and there is a special place in heaven for people like you. Now compare that to Andy and I'd say you've got us beat. I work in HR, I'm like the guy Toby in the office that everyone avoids. And Andy, well, he works in politics. I'll just leave it there. Now this brings us to the Brian phase. I'd like to do a little exercise. Brian, please take your hand and place it on top of Katie's. Now take this moment and cherish it, because Brian, this is the last time you'll ever have the upper hand. It has been a pleasure welcoming you into the family, and you must have made a good impression on my dad if you already got your name on the sacred family tree up north. It's obviously that you make Katie very happy, and I know that she found her new best friend. As I look at you both tonight, I notice a couple things. Two people who are genuinely in love with each other, and two very massive sets of biceps. Why don't you two flex for us?
Come on, flex out. Whoa, look at those. Brian, give it.
I'll admit I was a bit concerned for my little sister when she said she was dating a trainer from her gym. And during our first family trip all up north together, his idea of a good time was to go across the street to the quarry and chuck boulders down the hill. To his credit though, this made a little more sense when Katie told me that Brian competes in strongman competitions and he's usually a top finisher, so you're all good. Finally, this might embarrass Brian a little bit, but underneath those bulging biceps, Brian has a soft side. Katie, I had a feeling he was the right one for you, but it became very clear when I put Brian on the spot a few weeks ago. In an email, I asked him a few questions about you. He mostly answered my questions about what he likes about you, your brains, beauty, and sense of humor. But the one answer that really stood out to me was when I asked, at what moment did you know she was the one? And Brian responded, I knew she was the one when I realized seeing her for even 5 minutes made my day.
Aww.
So I hope that 10 years from now, when you have 3 screaming kids at home, maybe 4, 5, you can still set aside 5 minutes to make each other's day. Cheers.